Indeed, the face of Tutankhamun is the face of Egypt. Yet it does make one wonder, if the tombs weren't looted a long time ago, what ancient wonders and things we would still have today, and what more knowledge we'd have of it, and a lot more examples, and how richer the world would be for its knowing. Beautiful statues like this, I'm sure, were abounded, but then many of these were just taken and melted down for other objects over time. The eyes picked out for other things and cast away or sold for little to nothing. But today we don't want to mope about that. What we want to do is talk about a few pieces of jewelry that they have from back then, and one in particular that is one of my favorites, but it also has a special significance. So join me and we'll take a look at this. One of the more unique pieces that there is in all of the Egyptian things that we have in art is this piece here. This is from the backing of the chair of King Tutankamun himself, and you can see how this is a darker type, almost enamel, that's been rubbed over with a pinker type color, giving you a shine to it, or an effect that looks like that. And look again at the beautiful inlay here that's around his neck. Is just his common, headdress type thing. And then a hair of lapis lazuli, which of course, harkens to a lot of the Sumerian type things, but quite a gorgeous piece. Here's the chair in all of its glory standing up, and it's got the lions on the side of it and everything, with 4 paws as the bottom of it, and a scene with him and his wife, Anaxamun, and her gesture towards him, and the sun god, Ra, beaming down upon the both of them in this scene. Just gorgeous. I love the lions on the side of it. When you take a close look at them, I mean, they really are, kind of gorgeous, but you can imagine somebody could put their palm on top of that. But the intricacy of the backing of the chair, just all of the individual hairs and everything that are on this, is quite stunning in itself. Even showing their feet being together, one sandal missing on her side, it seems, and his on the other, at almost a sharing or a gesturing to each other. Again, look at the size of their hobbit feet that they've got going on. But here in the picture of the chair, this picture is actually the chair, which has the lion paw on it. It's not made of gold, but it is made out of a lapis lazuli, the dark blue version. You can see the love between them. Other pieces that are found are like this, where the multi-bird feathers, and it just unmarked by time. I mean, just constantly. The only thing that's missing on this is this little tip of this ankh. You can see how small the pointing is there to it, but it's gorgeous. Here's the blue-eyed Horus, and there's the sun disk above. And so here we can see some of their intricate work that doesn't get seen by the public very much at all. Or this belt that's here, and how just simply gorgeous it is again. I mean, just look at the coloration, the pictures, the symbolism, and it's almost gaudy with its amount of coloring, almost like ancient American Indian beadwork and things like that, where it is, vivid and brilliant colors, and again, not a stone missing out of this thing. And this sashlet that went around him, that also has a scarab in it on this side. And look at the intricate beadwork here that pulls off something that looks like fish scales. The blue figured people here, him coming before the god. It's just an incredible piece of artwork. This is what we want to look at a little bit more in depth here. This has the scarab in it, and if you look, the scarab here is made out of a glass type form. It's only found on one place in the world that's just like this, although a few things like this are found somewhat. This comes from a sea of glass. It comes from far off of Egypt, deep in behind Libya, off in the Sahara Desert, some 350 miles away from the Nile. An incredible, gorgeous piece here with the two cobras, and up at the top, the god, with the sun resting in the moon. There's the incredible glass piece that you see, and here we have a fleur-de-lis on this side, linking it with the Sumerian thing. On this side we have the lotus, and these are eagle claws attached to a scarab, which has all its intricacy, even the underflap for his wings. Two snakes. The different types of stonework here coming from far, far away. This glass is what we're interested in, though. For what does the all-seeing eye know about this? And what did the gods know about this glass? Look at these intricate lotuses here at the bottom. It's just striking how 3D kind of looking they are. So let's see where this glass comes from. Let's take a good look. Some 350 miles off of Egypt, you'll find this type of glass rocks that are just in chips and set running all throughout the desert for some, I don't know, what is it? They figured out 38 square miles, or is it 38 square kilometers? And it's just huge area here that they have that's all been blanched with a heat that ended up making the sand that's there turn into a desert glass that's quite clear, although some have some weird inclusions and things like that into them. It's been somewhat collected a little bit over time, and as you can see, there's a few different colors that are smoky, a very bright clear form, a reddish form, and these are where some of those stones had come from. Whenever I was a kid, I used to play Dungeons and Dragons, and we had this campaign where we'd gone to Egypt, and we had to go across the Sea of Glass where no one had been for a long time to make this thing happen in a special temple. And we had boats that had basically what was like figure skating skis under the bottom of them that were huge, that the boats were on with their sails, and it would allow you to sail across the Sea of Glass. It's kind of neat. It kind of came from having done a campaign in the Sea of Ice up north in like a Nordic giant, frost giant type of thing, where the sea was totally frozen over solid and people got around with those. And this was more of the desert and Egyptian form of that, but quite a neat and unique spot. Let's take a closer look at this. So it's known as Libyan desert glass, and it comes from the Great Sand Sea Glass, or the Sea of Glass. It's an impactite found in areas in the eastern Sahara, in the deserts of eastern Libya and western Egypt. Fragments of desert glass can be found all over areas of tens of square kilometers. So they don't tell you exactly on here, but I believe it was in the 30s anyhow. Here we can see the area that we're talking about here. And Sudan starts way down here, and up here is the River Nile. And of course it goes up to the Mediterranean. So it's off in between Libya and the Nile, and some 350 miles before you would go from here and actually meet and run into it. And it's an area that's somewhat rounded off. And areas believe that it goes way, way off here, as wide as you see as this. It would go as far to the west or left of this. And but that's all up under the desert now, trapped up under the sea of dunes now of sand that's packed so high no one will probably ever find out what's up under all of that. Now the origin of this desert glass is still kind of uncertain. They say its meteoric origins have long been considered possible, and recent research links the glass to impact features such as zircon breakdown, vaporized quartz, and things, and indeed it's pretty much what you make glass out of today. And you see this lump glass that they make up in the Ozarks and things like that, except for this is made naturally, and it seems to be it's done from radioactive melting, from meteoric large aerial bursts, something like the Tunguska crater, but having done it over a desert dune type of area. And so making it kind of analogous to trinitite, which is created from sand exposed to the thermal radiation of the nuclear tests that they had up in White Sands and places where it would make glass like this, but not near as much or not as big. I mean, this is a huge area. Libyan desert glass has been dated to has formed around 26 million years ago. There is some debate on that and whether it's all formed at the same time. It used to be napped, and napping is where you take a piece of glass or a piece of flint and you hit the edges of it and you make the arrowheads, flint arrowheads and things that we're all familiar with, and that's known as napping. They're napped and used to make tools during the Pleistocene area, and that carries Pleistocene era goes all the way to about 11,200, 11,400 BC, and peters out and changes over. There are some small uses after this point, but in general, they quit using these and making tools out of that. And I'm guessing at the point that it became a starving type desert, it was a rare trek to go out there and see it, or to pick any up. So sometimes when you see artifacts, there might be a whole lot more to the story than just, oh, that looks kind of pretty. Because built into this also is, of course, some incredible symbolism. Again, the fleur-de-lis, the lotus, all the things that go along with it. Most of this is all this desert glass and lapis lazuli, inset in, gold, with the all-seeing eye, the boat of heaven, him meeting the gods. And again, the centerpiece of this is that strange glass that only comes from one place in the world, another unique anomaly in Egypt. So many wonderful pieces like this, it just makes one wonder what you'd find or what there would have been available to look at if all those tombs hadn't been plundered in elder times. And we can't, I guess, cry about spilt milk, but it's terrible what we must be missing. Slowly but surely things become uncovered. Like this hook and flail that he has, and you can see the scarab begin here with his chest and breastplate, right? So this is hung across his chest, and then these symbolic hands that hold these for him whenever he doesn't have them held onto it. And you can tell up here that it kind of goes silver, gold, red, gold, purplish blue, gold, blue, gold, red, gold, purple, and then it's got the three hanging dolls of the flail. And this is almost like a wind chime type effect and everything. Quite beautiful in itself. And you can see that representative in another piece in his tomb here, where his wife is bringing him some lotus, and you can see them in her hand. And you also see him sitting here on the chair, which is not the chair that we were looking at first, though it has the same legs. It doesn't have the armrest and the lion onto him. But also, there's that scarab, and there's the neck wear that goes onto it, right? You can also see over here, she's talking, his wife is talking to a priestess of Hathor, right? So there's a Hathor type symbol, yeah, and this anointing thing going on, and perhaps this is whenever they're wanting children, and this is probably at the time before they had two stillborn children that didn't make it and everything, and this could be something that has to do with this issue, and could have been made before it even happened, and then after the fact they went ahead and put it into his tomb. So like, share, and subscribe, guys. A lot of neat things coming up. But yeah, the mysteries of the Boy King and the mysteries of Egypt itself, and some of the unique things that you can find there. And this is just one of many. Have a great day.